Hey everyone, the second anniversary of Final Fantasy Record Keeper is almost here, so I thought I'd do a video based on the question why you should try or play Final Fantasy Record Keeper if you haven't already. Well, firstly, I didn't want to compare Final Fantasy free-to-play titles like Exvius, Mobius, and so forth, but I think there'll always be conflicts there and there'll always be inevitable discussion, so I'll simply say there is no harm trying out a game, and if you like it then go for it. And if you don't, then you can always put it down and delete it. Everyone has their own opinions about games, but I don't think many people actually give Final Fantasy Record Keeper a shot. Because, let's be honest, at first glance, Exvius looks like a much cleaner and fuller game. And it was heavily advertised, similar to Mobius, which it looks absolutely phenomenal. Well, first things first. The story is indeed not a strong point, and I think many people can agree with me on that one. But it's a simple story, working together with a record keeper named Taro, to retrieve the events of the Final Fantasy universe by pretty much reliving them through battles alongside the characters of Final Fantasy. I never played free-to-play games for the story experience, to be honest, because I knew they would always be poor in that department. If I wanted an awesome experience, then I would pick up a full-fledged RPG. Free-to-play games, for me, is sitting down or going out and playing in my spare time. And Final Fantasy Record Keeper can be a little bit of a casual experience, doing daily dungeons or basically farming for orbs to gain abilities or experience, or even getting back home, resting on my bed and hacking it out, reliving a boss from my nostalgic Final Fantasy past, which is fucking awesome because you get to listen to the fantastic soundtracks of the Final Fantasy universe, and they actually pay pretty close attention to detail, to quotes which the bosses make. Getting to that, of course, you can relive moments from every single Final Fantasy, which Dina are seriously updating the game every week to introduce new challenges catering for veterans of the game and Final Fantasy Realms. The newest one coming up is Final Fantasy Type 0, and they are actually introducing Legends as well. Alright, so let's talk about art and animation. So, people who hate the 16-bit style will definitely not enjoy this. But to be honest, I'm a graphically influenced guy, which is why I'm very surprised, why I got into Final Fantasy Record Keeper so much. I think it was more the nostalgic feel and the strategic gameplay which pulled me into it, because it reminded me of the old times where I sat down to play old school Final Fantasy VIII, although this is an ATB style, so more like Final Fantasy 9. So it can be pretty stressful at times if you watch my videos. I'll give you a hint, I say fuck a lot. And there are times where you want to pull your hair out, but man, it makes it fun because of the strategic nature and the tactical nature, and it really gives you a sense of accomplishment when you finish a boss. I'll be honest at the start, things require a lot of planning, and I think a lot of people agree with me, especially if you want to stay free to play, because there is in-game currency called Mithril. Being free to play, you need to save them at the right events to hedge your bets. Again, I'll be honest and say Final Fantasy Record Keeper has been a lot better in terms of the gacha or gambling system. When I say better, well, I need to discuss this further. There are relics where you can perform limit breaks, where they are called soul breaks. For example, Squall's Revolver does Rough Divide. Soul breaks are what entices people to gamble because you want to get them for your favorite character. Exvius has characters, Mobius has job and abilities, and Record Keeper has weapons, armor, which has soul breaks. The thing is, abilities are much more important than soul breaks in the long run because they are relevant for a lot of the game. I'm still using abilities that I used from when I started the game. So, gambling for these relics, sure, they'll make you more powerful, but you don't need them to stay too relevant in the game. So, if you want to gamble, like I said, there are events which basically use half your mithril, so if you save them for the right events, and there are always cooler events down the track to hedge your bets. Also, if you save and spend a certain amount, you also get a guaranteed good relic. So what I'm trying to say is Record Keeper has probably the best gacha system I've personally played around with. People can, of course, agree and disagree with me on that one, but it's my honest opinion, and As you know, I played a lot of free-to-play games. So like I said, Final Fantasy Record Keeper caters to both casual and hardcore gamers. Strategy, grinding, and farming is the key, and there is a learning curve to the game. A lot of bosses require a great deal of strategy and take a long time to actually figure it out. One battle actually took me 3 hours to win, and I had basically no soul break equipment back then, which of course was the Omega weapon. So it's not just the in-game currency which makes you strong, it's really using your head as well. Not to say soul breaks are not awesome, because they are fucking awesome. They look fantastic, and DNA, I said Dina at the start, but I know it's pronounced DNA, but I keep saying Dina, has done a fantastic job looking at the fine details on past Final Fantasy limit breaks and adding their own little spin to it to make the 16-bit style look freaking hardcore. Multiplayer is another feature which grabbed a lot of people's attention, and yes, it is co-op live based, so you work together with friends or randoms to beat a boss. Same strategy, but you need to cater for different weaknesses and strengths your other teammates have. I'd say it needs a little bit more touching up at the moment in terms of servers, but I think most of the time it's other people's internet. Again, there is some degree of tactics, so if you have friends, you can do a lot more planning. And if you don't, well, you can join up with us on Discord, which we can help you out a lot. Link is in the description. So what I mentioned is just a small part of what Final Fantasy Record Keeper has to offer. I asked a few of my fellow record keepers on Facebook and Discord why they like Final Fantasy Record Keeper, and this is what they had to say. So let's take a look. So Antwa says, I feel like the main reason I like playing FFRK is because it's rewarding. You can grind it out and actually feel like you're making progress. Especially being free to play, it's easy to be on the same level as everyone else. Any other game I play makes me feel like shit because I'm not a whale. Which is pretty true. There are some games where there is PvP involved and you're just versing someone with like top class equipment, and in your head you know they spent a large amount of money, which kind of puts you a little bit down. And there are cases in Final Fantasy Record Keeper where you play multiplayer but you don't really look at the other guy's equipment, so it's not too bad in that sense. Elsa says one reason is the gacha is fair compared to other games, which is true. If only we can get Final Fantasy Brave X Fierce people to play, and will cause a massive player base increase too. Well, that's true. Like I said, not really many people give Final Fantasy Record Keeper a chance, which people should. Just give it a go. Might as well. It's free to download. Wong says it is the only place you'll see the heroes and villains across all Final Fantasy realms united to fight against possibly themselves. Which is true, there are cases where you would verse Lightning or Tidus or whoever, pretty much the Dissidia universe, so really entertaining in that fact. Steven says, it's about to get crazy, Limit Chain and USSB are coming soon. USSB is basically Ultra Super Soul Breaks, and yeah, it's a type of soul break that looks fucking awesome. People should play this, just do it, trust me. What great words. Played FFRK since the beginning and it still caters to my craving for old school turn-based battles with amazing flashy moves. It also brings back a lot of nostalgia as you're going through the battles and using the characters you grew up in battles, that's for sure. True words here, of all the mobile games with the same genre, this game has the deepest strategic depth. Yep, I really do agree with this one. Alright Rosario, this is a long one. In my opinion, from an old school gamer perspective, my reasons to play FFRK. You get to acquire the heroes and villains from all Final Fantasy series and join forces for one main goal in the game. You get to relive all the memories of all the favourite, most memorable scenes again when we were young. When we were young! Those were the days. The battle is based in the old school version of the ATB system that we always remembered. 4 new events and challenges every week so you never get bored. And 5, relive the most epic boss battles of all Final Fantasy series you remembered. That's really well said. Alright, next one. Many games won't have so many events like FFRK, Many games after finishing the story mode will be boring to play already. Many games even, I'm guessing, when they have maintenance, but also don't have new systems like FFRK to let players get a fresh feeling to continue playing. I think what he means is after there's a maintenance, they try to, like, say, because multiplayer wasn't even there before, now they introduced multiplayer in the update, they keep introducing new systems to let players get, a fresher feeling. Well said. More challenges won't be boring and will await tomorrow coming faster. I'm guessing it's like the feeling of like, come on, I want the new event now. I'd say definitely it helps me get into the series as a whole. When I got SSBs and BSBs, there's Super Soul Breaks and Burst Soul Breaks, so type of Soul Breaks, from characters I never used before like Van, Oren, Faris, etc. because they ended up helping my team a lot. Plus, it's nice seeing 3D FF games like the 13 trilogy reimagined as 2D sprites, that's sure. All in all, Final Fantasy Record Keeper and the 13 games got me into FF as a whole. So yeah, I think it can do the same for others. Yeah, I like that. I kind of thought the same, but not as a whole. Well, kind of is, right? Because I never played... I did play FF12, but seeing Van in action and everything, it makes me want to play FF12 again, so in that sense, it's a really good feeling. It's a pleasure to relive the iconic scenes and battles of all FF series in 8-bit glory. I thought 16-bit. Let me know if I'm wrong. Not to mention the wonderful music that comes with it. I think this one most people can relate with. The original soundtracks. Final Fantasy has some amazing music. Nobuo was in his prime and really shaped the video game music world. Man, I still remember seeing him live in concert. It was an amazing experience seeing him in person. I do highly recommend it. It's like a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Definitely go for it if you haven't. Alright, hard to add more to this than what's already been posted, but I think of one thing that's great, and that's being able to see what's coming up, or should be coming up thanks to Global being behind the Japanese version. That's helped me so much, you have no idea. You can basically see off the Buck Power website what events are coming up so you can plan ahead, so that's a really, really good thing for free-to-play players. Love the sprites, and even more so seeing the sprites for characters that either never had them or new versions of them when you fight them, like in the Final Fantasy Tactics event. The roster of characters is huge and will increase in time, hopefully adding in at least one favorite character from each game per player. Only thing that gets on my nerves is seeing certain Japanese events not come to global, and we'll miss out on new characters for about 4 months. Thanks to that, I'm looking for you Final Fantasy 11 event from December. The thing is, because DNA didn't publish Final Fantasy Record Keeper, well, it's kind of an iffy thing there, because Exvius was published by Square Enix, so they get the certain events like the Saga series and stuff like that. DNA was in collaboration with Square Enix, so I don't know what the interaction or what plan they have with interacting with Square Enix about those type of events, but we have to wait and see. As a whole, it is the only mobile game I play, and I have tried some of the other FF mobile games, and they just didn't have enough to them to stay enjoyable while waiting for an update in an unknown amount of time. It's a great time to start playing FFRK. You can avoid the mistakes we made at the start. If I knew then what I know now, I'd be more patient and allow my stamina to restore without using Mithril. To be honest, that's honestly the best way to start, to use Mithril to restore your stamina to get ahead of events, and plus you get a fuckload at the start. You would think that one Mithril is kind of worth spending to kind of get ahead of the game. So that's honestly a good thing. But you can also take your time, which is also a good thing. I'd use only 11 draws with the masses of Mithril from doing all the early level missions with the guaranteed 5-star, so same for 11 draw, you get the guaranteed 5-star. I'd concentrate on upgrading the major league characters with the best BSBs that others have identified, and not waste time on the characters with little use. Roaming Warriors will give new players instant access to really helpful abilities that original players only dreamed of possessing. We never got Roaming Warriors at the start. Roaming Warriors are just summoned characters that other people have, so you can summon my Roaming Warrior, which I don't know, I think it was Kuja or something, so really cool. It's great to start playing, use knowledge more experienced players have gathered. Alright, this is by a guy named Squall Leonhardt, one of my favourite characters, as most of you guys know. I think the main reason for me was the nostalgic feeling about using characters and villains from the games I grew up with. Being able to play with NPCs like Braska and villains like Sephiroth is awesome. Also, reliving epic boss fights with my favourite party is really nice. What surprised me the most when I started playing was also how fair the game was, since most mobile games are free to play to one point where you have to pay or grind for a month to beat a stage. But in FFRK, a premium user can have the same as a free to play, from having over 100 characters, not like Mobius and its premium jobs to play with. And the Relic draws. I'm a free to play and my main party is Orlando, Aiko, Ramza, Squall and Tyro. I own all of my party's BSBs and OSBs. Being able to clear all content as a free user feels really fair. To make it short, if you love FF and you want to play a mobile game, I would choose RK over other games including BE and Mobius. The thing is, definitely a free-to-play player can own a lot better stuff than a paying player, but the thing is, you need to have luck, you need to have a good start. So I recommend, if you have a bad start, might as well start the game over, try do another Relic draw and get the best stuff. If you need help, then I'm here, other people are here as well. Anyway, I hope I answered some of your questions on Final Fantasy Record Keeper. If you haven't played it or considering on playing it, then I hope to see you in the game. And if you have anything you'd like to say, why you enjoy Final Fantasy Record Keeper, why you hate it, or whatever, put it in the comments below, and happy record keeping.